Hi everybody, Gordon Firemark here with another question and answer for the Business of Show Institute. Jonathan asks, at what point does a story become an adapted as opposed to an original work? For example, the story of Hercules. If I use Bulfinch's mythology for the basic story, but also draw from Homer and Ovid and archaeology records and so on, is that considered an adaptation? Does the screenplay have to be labeled as adapted from Hercules by Thomas Bulfinch? Well, that's an interesting choice because you've chosen something that is a matter of Greek mythology. It's in the public domain. It's been there for a very long time. If you're going to do a Hercules story, I don't believe you do need to refer to the Bulfinch unless you're pulling something very specifically that Bulfinch created and that wasn't part of the original mythology. The real issue about adaptation is if it is based on material that comes from a prior source, it's not original. Originality is just that. It came from your mind. You didn't have any particular inspiration. Obviously, your aggregate experience inspires your work, but you weren't looking to a particular title or project as the source for what you've created. So that's the difference really between originality and adaptation. There are a number of cases talking about what is originality in copyright law, and it isn't a very high threshold, but as soon as your work is based on, copied from, inspired by someone else's work, that is when it becomes an adaptation, or in copyright parlance, a derivative work. And if the work you're using as your inspiration is protected under copyright law, you need not just to label it as an adaptation the way you've described, but you also need to obtain permission or a license from the owner of the copyright in the underlying work. So we attorneys will always counsel caution and conservative approach in this situation, and that is always get permission when you're basing your material on earlier work, unless that work is very clearly in the public domain.